Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning, coffee moaning. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the unedifying 22nd of January as Donald Trump is at the podium as we speak, announcing the signing in of the Board of Peace. The Board of Peace, do not get me started. My heart rate is almost off the Richter scale. Can you say that? The news flow at the moment is marinated in deep hypocrisy and double standards. It's just so shocking, guys. I'm not going to be able to pull my punches today. I just can't. The clear and apparent contrasts of treatment, response, the ability of Western leaders to navigate and circumnavigate around issues that are in principle the same, Greenland v. GAZA, and yet such a different response to one to the other. The same war criminals, Putin and Netanyahu, and yet the response to one is different to the other. It's just so shocking. So Donnie does Davos. That's where it's kind of catch-all. Not Debbie does Dallas, but Donnie does Davos. Donald Trump at Davos as we speak, as I say, launching the Board of Peace. And I'm looking at a panning shot, live panning shot of an enormous number of men in ties. Anyone who knows the channel knows I have zero tolerance, I'm afraid, for men in ties. He's currently standing there at the moment talking about getting all the hostages home. And as ever with all of these conversations, no equivalence drawn or emphasis put on the massacre and genocide of the Palestinians. Talk about one huge global effort to backfill the open, yawning grave of a genocide. That's what's going on here. Caterpillar fucking trucks and diggers covering it all up with these great big titles, boards of peace, men in ties, war criminals invited, but only certain war criminals upset our Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper. Our Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, can draw a distinction between different types of wanted war criminals. So anyway, you can tell I've already started. So we're going to talk about Donnie. Donnie does Davos. Is Greenland really safe? And why is everyone so fucking angry about a potential annexation in Greenland, but not at all about an actual genocide and annexation in Gaza and the West Bank? War criminals, I've emphasized the S, on the Gaza board, on the peace board. Putin's been invited. I've just seen Putin doing a little selfie chat saying he's going to join, thanks to Trump. And I'm going to talk about Yvette Cooper, stating that the reason the British government isn't going to join the Board of Peace is due to the presence of a war criminal. No irony in her saying this. No sort of needing to get over the speed bump of contradiction or hypocrisy or exceptional kind of exceptionalism. No. The only war criminal, the issue of Putin, who, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, wanted war criminal or not, I think Netanyahu's given him a good run for his money in terms of the severity of crimes. And we are going to, towards the end, talk about the inevitably, more than likely, highly possible under-16 social media ban, which, when you hear that, one has an initial, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And I think even some youngsters would go, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But actually, again, I think it's a potential policy that has all the best intentions, but could end up really playing into the hands of the ways in which our governments, our systems manage to control the mainstream narrative. And I worry for our younger generations that in the spurious argument of whilst protecting their welfare and their mental health, they're also going to protect them from any form of political opinion that might deviate from the mainstream. So I think Musical Chimp was talking about this somewhat in the chat room earlier. So you may tell I feel very sort of frustrated this morning. On a personal note, thank you so much to everyone for all of your messages. Nadia, really appreciated them. I appreciated them. Obviously, there was no coffee moaning yesterday. We were at an incredibly moving, life-affirming, tragic at the same time funeral for Hannah and our dear friend Hannah. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those weird situations where there was both such an enormous outshowing and outpouring of love and upset and sadness. So there was a sort of, the positive, but of course the negative being, wow, what a loss, what a beautiful tribute the day was. But we just wanted to thank you for all we know your messages have landed in various sort of places, and we didn't do coffee moaning yesterday. So on that note, and also if anyone who's still into the interstellar object, I did a live with the Harvard professor again last night, go over and have a listen. It was just interesting science, interesting stuff, interesting that just because we're so sort of narrative driven, aren't we, as creatures? Oh, it's past the nearest point to Earth, therefore it must be over because it hasn't come for us. Very egocentric. No, it's still delivering lots of anomalies. So go over if you fancy a bit of, not sci-fi, but if you fancy a bit of non-mainstream science debate or chat, go over there. And of course, obviously, the other news yesterday, obviously the timing was kind of not brilliant in terms of what we were doing. We were at the funeral. Our podcast chat with Zach Polanski has landed. I think it's a collaboration, but it's landed on Bold Politics. If you want to go and check out me and Nadia chewing the cud with Zach Polanski for an hour or so. It was quite a nice long chat. Warm. It was a warm conversation between people not pretending to be anything other than what they were, which is a little bit confused, a little bit hopeless, needing a bit of hope and wanting to connect. It was nice. Thank you, Alison Barber. That's very kind of you. So what have we got lined up for you? We always have lots of clips, lots of photos, lots of headlines. Well, I've got a kind of pull together of Donnie does Davos. And I think it's best to perhaps start with some of the more kind of, because at the moment it's just an unedifying. I mean, does anyone else find when you look at sort of images, look at all of them, sort of like, sound, the board of peace, just the word, the board of peace. Do not be under any misapprehension. This board of peace with the desire to turn really the Gaza Strip into a, Gaza Riviera, populated, run by billionaires who can all have their finger in the kind of collateral and in the money that can be made from Gaza. Where the fuck are the Palestinians, guys? What's going on? Because I mean, you'd think that the ceasefire is successful, but look. Only yesterday, 3 journalists were among 11 Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in Gaza. Now, this kind of headline here, and this landed yesterday, this news headline landed yesterday, this would normally, even during the kind of intense heat of the genocide, this would have been one of those sort of clarion calls, a galvanizing story for everyone to go, this is fucking out. That's not even getting commented on. Yvette Cooper probably doesn't even know this has happened. And she's the foreign secretary this morning saying, we're not joining Trump's board of peace because Vladimir Putin's been invited. Sorry? In fact, she says, because a war criminal has been invited, a wanted war criminal, Vladimir Putin. Let's not forget, if we want to be strictly legal here, Putin is a wanted war criminal and Netanyahu is a wanted war criminal. So you can't split hairs in terms of saying, well, they're not quite war criminals, because if you're saying it about Putin, who's a wanted war criminal like Netanyahu, you have to extend the same standards and the same values, no? And look, when I ask these questions, if I had £1 for every single person who goes, she's a Zionist, she's paid up by AIPAC, you tool. I understand. The rhetorical question is my way of getting it out of me so I don't explode. I understand how compromised she is. What staggers me is the refusal of these complicit politicians and their reluctance and actually their lack of interest in trying to even pretend it, to pretend to hide it. They're not even very efficient at kind of, I mean, the point I'm trying to make here about her is UK not ready to sign up to Donald Trump's board of peace, says Yvette Cooper, because of Putin. We have concerns about President Putin being part of something which is talking about peace. It's the total hypocrisy. It's the total double standards. It's the fact that she can say that of Putin and not worry. I know why she's not saying it of Netanyahu, because she's complicit. She's been paid by the Labour Friends of Israel. But The fact that when she says it, she doesn't think she's going to be held to account. Why doesn't she think she's going to be held to account? Because we have not a single fucking journalist with the balls or the ovaries to fucking ask the follow-up question. Where's the follow-up question? If you can't join because of Putin, can you join because of Netanyahu? It's a very simple, very obvious secondary question. Unless as a journalist and as a politician, you are so threaded through and marinated with white, supremacist, colonialist privilege that Gaza just simply doesn't register. But Greenland does. We can all absolutely understand the logistics and the complications. We need to put our foot down. Oh, absolutely. We could talk about that G word. We just can't talk about Gaza. I'm sorry. It's too poisonous. It's a mind fuck for me. Greenland, brilliant. It's white, it's cold, it's icy, it's all the way up there somewhere. She should, okay, me too. Even if the UK isn't taking the Board of Peace seriously, she should have used the 2 wanted war criminals as a reason, not the 1. I don't care if no one's taking it seriously. It's a great big fucking toddler standing on stage with a bunch of fucking wanker cowards wearing great long ties, bar 1 or 2 for whom ties aren't a sort of traditional sort of dress, standing there, all of them with their sphincter muscles spasming because they want something from fucking Trump. So regardless of whether our government is not taking it seriously or taking it seriously, if you're going to give a reason, give an entire reason rather than a totally obviously corrupt one. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. Yvette Cooper should fucking do one. She's an absolute shameful fucking foreign secretary. All of our foreign secretaries are completely corrupt, compromised. They need to have Israeli regime sponsored by on their chests. It's just not good enough. Must do better. And to be fair to even Yvette Cooper, she's not challenged by anyone, but also to be fair to the journalists, they probably have to submit their questions prior to asking questions. Trump throws out journalists he doesn't like, almost from Air Force One. If you watch Air Force One doing one of its trips with journalists on board and you were to film it, you'd see the occasional body just fly out the fucking back. That's how he deals with journalists that he doesn't like the questions from. Our lot will just be like, can you just let us know what the question is? We're not going to come off. It's all very English. It's like when you go into even when you go into a junket for a movie, can we see your list of questions? Now, we're not going to come off these, are we? Because, of course, if you do come off these, we're going to terminate the interview straight away. Board of fucking peace. Board of pieces. They're all pieces of shit. Billionaire. And they haven't even hidden. Trump hasn't. This is the moral dissonance. This is the amorality. With the world, with the population of the world looking at this huge discrepancy, as Nadia was saying on Zach's podcast, this huge discrepancy between billionaires' wealth and ordinary people. And when I say ordinary people, I mean people going up to middle classes and everything. But just there's the billionaires. Here they come in and they say it's $1 billion to be part of the board. I wonder if there's a single Palestinian who represents truly what the Palestinians need or want that has $1 billion, guys. That's a good one. Maybe it's a typo, Michu says. Board of Peace. What do you think of all this? Let's share some of your thoughts. Art with Rachel Kashani. China is sitting back and laughing at us. Yeah, you're right. But you know what, Art with Rachel Kashani? Russia, let's put to the side, we've been told to distrust China. We've been told to believe they have expansionist ambitions because that's what we have. That's what America has. That's what the West has. Okay, maybe the UK doesn't. Maybe we just like a little bit more of the Isle of Wight. I don't know. Or clarify who the fuck owns Jersey and Guernsey. It's all very quaint, isn't it? Very sort of flowery cottage kind of fucking, that's what we deal with in Britain. I think Trump has signs. Okay, well, look, Russ Souch, hope you will, mate, nuzzles us towards, let's watch Donnie Does Davos, shall we? I've got some clips here. Weird, unedifying, strange, but let's start with his arrival. And he wasn't met. And of course, let's not forget, when he arrived on icy land, huge confusion as to Iceland, Greenland. You say Greenland and I say Iceland, and then when pushed back on it, he said, well, it's icy. I think he doesn't realize, or he's forgot, that there's actually a country called Iceland. But this was his arrival. Check this out. No big, huge welcome. Don't know if anyone's seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. He looked just like the monster walking across the Arctic ice towards the ship on board which Oscar Isaac, Dr. Frankenstein, was. Penny Albertella Meditations. I'd have liked to see you ask Zach to explain his complicity with the anti-Semitism attacks on Jeremy Corbyn. Well, I'd love to know about them. If I haven't read about them, haven't seen them, I didn't know about them. Yeah, no, if I'd have known, I would have done. We also ended up turning against Corbyn, not for the anti-Semitism, but because he was fucking spineless on Brexit. But I regret it. I think we can all make decisions that we regret. I think it's easy to find a reason to want to push out any new voice rather than actually going, fuck's sake, guys, we need a different fucking voice. We just need anyone. We need someone just to fucking just shake it all up. Anyway, so that was him arriving. Billy No Mates on the ice. Here's your next clip.
Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. I settled 8 other wars: India, Pakistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iceland. They loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. The problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%, but I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, they're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. We want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, but I won't do that. The cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%. There are 2 ways of figuring that. I'll be announcing a new Fed chairman in the not too distant future. I think he'll do a very good job. See, I gave away some of it. He did give that away. So we have something, got something. Minnesota. We actually are helping Minnesota so much, but they don't appreciate it. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy. I will say this, if I were a Democrat governor or whatever, I would call up Trump. I'd say, come on in, make us look good. I know so many people from Switzerland, incredible place, incredible, brilliant place. But I then realized that they're only good because of us. And there's so many other examples. I mean, us, probably other places. The Spanish flu in World War I ended because all the soldiers were sick. The soldiers were so sick on both sides from the Spanish flu. They were sick as dogs. They couldn't fight.
I mean, you know, it's the way in that last clip he pivots towards sitting down. Does anyone remember what was the name of that Irish comedian? I think he didn't have a finger on one of his hands, and he used to sit with a kind of bourbon or a whiskey, sort of slouched on a stool chair, and he would deliver just his rambling thoughts. I found him quite entertaining when I was young, and I was fascinated by the fact that here was an outwardly alcoholic comic just drinking and getting pissed. If anyone can remember his name, please tell me. Dave Allen. Thank you, Sheila Patterson. Dave Allen. Was he Irish? I think he was. Again, it's that wicked Irish sense of humor, Dave Allen. I think he was channeling. I love Dave Allen. I think he was channeling a bit of Dave Allen there. And on that, actually, I think Dave Allen did have a missing finger, didn't he? I think he had a missing finger. I just want to take you back. We're going to go back to Donnie Does Davos, because and there will be some repeat, because obviously that was a montage of some of the funniest bits or the oddest bits, but baked into those funny bits are some really quite serious implications. But let me just clarify for anyone. Allegedly, his desire to militarily, as he revealed in that montage, to militarily occupy and annex Greenland, he's dialed that rhetoric back. But I think we know with Donnie, that doesn't mean anything, because once he lands back in Washington or Mar-a-Lago, nowhere's harder than Mar-a-Lago. Once he's landed back in the States, he could just reverse it all again. And I've got a very strong theory, going back to his malignant narcissism diagnosis that we were toying with on Monday, that I've found that with this guy, he says, or he kind of delivers whatever will give him the greatest love from the audience in front of him. So he doesn't care if he reverses policy, shifts rhetoric, changes his ideas, completely contradicts himself, because what he wants at any point, at all moments, is the adoration, the love, the laughter, the respect of whoever's in front of him. And I don't know if this is one of the diagnostic symbols of narcissism, that they need agreement and they need to be liked by everyone in front of them, even if that means they completely trample over some strongly held beliefs. So my fear on Greenland is he'll get back to the States and the walking Viagra pill, Pete Hegseth, will be like, wait, we got to go in there. We got to go in there. We got to take the ice. It's called Greenland, by the way. Let's get over there. There's a lot of white stuff and it's all on the floor. I want to sniff that stuff and we want to take it. Whilst he's holding on to the banisters, because he's always holding on to the banisters. But anyway, I just want to throw us back. The finger. ADHD weave there. This was a moment when he had some big 1 hour, 90-minute chat in the press briefing office at the White House. But look, just listen to this. Look at his behavior and seriously tell me, like the I've Had It women say on their podcast, his brain is mush. His brain is, I mean, it is mush, but at the same time, it's kind of odd mush. I think it's mush that's still the occasional synapse electrical impulse. Anyway, just check this out. I couldn't believe this. I watched this live and I just recorded this clip because it kind of just struck me as, did that really just happen? Did he, what?
So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing. Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, ooh, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain.
He's 3. He's 3. You know what? They could have taken my finger off, but I wouldn't have shown the pain. I wouldn't have cried. I wouldn't have cried a tear.
Gone back. Boy, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was a nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him.
He's always telling you who did it, apart from whoever tried to shoot his ear off. Do you remember that? I mean, even with are they called bull clips that nearly took his finger off? He's pointing at someone in the. I mean, I know he's joking, but he's kind of not. He kind of never is joking.
My man, how were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world.
As he threw it, each line, look at that. Each line is something we did. Nobody's done that in the world. What the fuck is trickling out of his mouth? The ear that grew back. Yes, you're right. I see what someone meant by that. If his finger came off, it would have just grown back, just like his ear. Yeah, I mean, he's deranged. He's clearly deranged. Trump's Mein Kampf, and it was just in big letters on the front, it just said accomplishments, but it was too big a read for Donald, which is why he hurled it over his shoulder. Let's stick with Davos. Let's listen to the next clip. Because again, as I say, there might be some repetition here. Apologies.
I'm helping Europe. I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you.
So he really, really has confused the two places. Unless what he's revealing is if he can't have Greenland, he'll go to Iceland. And I mean the country, not the shop. Thanks, Fun Times Forever. I mean, he can't get the country right. I mean, if this was Biden, as he dribbled onto stage, walked into flagpoles, wandered off into the jungle. I mean, imagine the kind of field day Trump's lot would be having with this if he wasn't Trump. He's like the man in Vicar of Dibley, says Sheila Patterson, who gives great long rambling speeches. The problem is, and I'm going to have to confess this, I find them eminently watchable because you just think, what the fuck? What connecting brain tissue is going to connect this word with this thought with that word? It's always bizarre. And he diverges in the most astonishing fashion. I'm just gonna put the board of men in ties just on the screen. Marco Rubio is currently up, delivering to quote The Guardian, a rather obsequious speech about Donald Trump's accomplishments. Trump has already signed, we're doing this, won't we? The inaugural resolution for the Board of Peace's GAZA mandate per the UN Security Council. Signing ceremony is underway. Morocco should hang their head in shame. Morocco, UAE. Is Netanyahu seriously going to walk onto the stage? Is he? Is Switzerland not one of those countries that signs up to the International Criminal Court? Or are they so neutral that's why they don't? They just hold money. 3 million Icelanders yesterday. What did he just say? I mean, how awful to have your country just reduced to what its main constituent element is. I mean, if you had to call it green, I mean, whenever I've flown over Greenland, it's very white. I'm amazed it doesn't call it Whiteland. We're quite green. Call us Greenland. They are all signed up to it, yes, but they can allow access for people. Right. Okay. So let's carry on through. Donnie does Davos, and I'll give you the latest updates on the Board of Peace. Shit.
You know, we go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we could buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world. Because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it?
and in the spirit of, if you haven't seen Macron, I mean, I have to confess, I commented on Macron, and I'm going to share the awful thought I had for a moment. Here's Macron. I've removed the audio. French President Emmanuel Macron delivered the most powerful rebuke of Donald Trump we've seen yet. There he is with his aviator shades on. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, but when I saw Macron speaking with shades on, I did wonder, and this is terrible, isn't it? I did wonder whether he'd taken a right hook again, as they were, I don't know, as they were, what's it called when a plane dollies? No, jostles. What's it called when planes taxiing? I wondered whether he'd taken another right hook as they taxied into Gatwick, or no, they're in Switzerland, aren't they? I know I know he says he's got an eye infection, but did anyone ever believe that at school? So I've got an eye infection, I've got to hide my eye. He sort of accidentally banged his head, but I know what he means. I mean, he looks fucking cool. I mean, you don't want to mess with it. Well, he's gone. Where is he? He's fucking disappeared. But yeah, he's still talking. There he is. Is it me? Is it me? Or is every leader beginning to look like a sort of Mr. Bean caricature? I mean, Netanyahu looks like Mr. Potato Head from Toy Story, malevolent version of. Macron looks like a sort of, I don't know, he looks like a spy from Johnny Dangerous. Trump just looks like a sack of potatoes. Let's go back to Donnie Does Davos.
Last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time. A very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running.
I mean, we were talking about Mark Rutte you know, the head of NATO. Oh, you're the daddy. Yeah, we love you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who I think is one of the most spineless fucking leaders I know. I mean, I know YouTube's going to very understandably say, well, we all have to be diplomatic and he has to ingratiate. You don't have to call him the daddy. There's lines of self-respect. Unless Mark Rutte, like Starmer, is into some kind of passive BDSM kind of stuff, calling him the daddy. But I knew, you know, there was us all hearing him call him the daddy. Trump doesn't miss a trick. Trump loves being called the daddy. That's part of his kink, you know. So he's humiliating yet again the head of NATO. It's the whole thing is just surreal. Yeah. Play to Trump's ego, YouTube says, path of least resistance. Calling him the daddy. I mean, shove your tongue up his ass. Don't call him the daddy, please. How is the audience not just laughing? I guess he'd take that as a compliment. Nobody can deliver. Nobody tells a joke like me. Nobody rambles for days like me. Okay, I think this is the final clip. Donnie does Davos, and we're going to move into the seriousness of Davos, the Board of Peace, and what makes a war criminal, and why Yvette Cooper suddenly feels, a little bit I feel a bit queasy about joining the Board of Peace.
What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it for Israel. And by the way, I told Bibi, stop taking credit for the dome. That's our technology. That's our stuff. But they had a lot of courage, and they were good fighters, and they did a good job, and we wiped out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
We haven't seen anything like it because we haven't seen it happen. It's such a wibbling, wobbling bunch of... I mean, interesting that he really, really needed to clarify that Israel is not responsible for the Iron Dome. You know, and of course, this is what America says they want Greenland for. Why does America... Okay, two questions. Why do we think, guys, back of the class, everyone in the class, pay attention at the back, Oxidus Magicus, you included. Why, class, do we think that Donald Trump wants Greenland allegedly to make the dome, the golden dome over the golden arches over America? In fact, maybe that's what he wants to make, golden arches over America, like the Iron Dome. Why would he need that? And why would he also need to build an enormous bunker where he claims a ballroom's being built? And although I can't fucking stand Gavin Newsom and his genocide sympathies with the genocide creating Israel, his inability to call out what's happened there, will probably have lost him the election with younger voters, who he needs in America. But I agree with Gavin Newsom when he says, do you really think Donald Trump would build a ballroom of this size and standing to only have a dance in it or whatever he's going to do in it? To YMCA, jacking off two giraffes. What, for a year or two? You know? Because he's bored. Wouldn't it? Because I think he knows, I think everything is being planned. Everything is being planned. His collusion with Putin. I mean, I think when I sort of idly think about these things, I sort of think, God, well, maybe what we've got here is Trump trying to be buddy up with Putin, fuse them together, and they want to kind of go against China. You know, the superpowers are they're all they don't know who to sidle up to. Everyone's offering each other such wonderful things, apart from China. China seems to be the one that really is not being in. I mean, I don't know, has China been invited? I haven't seen if China. I think China's been invited. I don't know if they've accepted. Anyway, final part of his rant about Israel. But, you know, clearly don't mention the dome. I think we should keep mentioning the dome. Let's keep mentioning that Netanyahu thinks the dome was Israel's creation, because then perhaps Donald Trump will finally throw the book at him.
Taking down Soleimani, wiping out al-Baghdadi when he tried to reinstitute ISIS. We did a lot. I did a lot of big things, all perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed.
Who feels he is forever like a child who's come home insisting to mummy that he's got the best grade in the class. Art with Rachel Kashani, China, the silent giant. Yeah, and the weird thing is that the West will want to characterize China's silence as somehow sinister. I just think China are looking at this going, what the mother of fuck is going on? This is all total insanity. Total insanity. I'm just getting rid of Macron's glasses. I'm just getting rid of Donnie does Davos. Here's the headlines. Trump declaration of Greenland framework deal met with skepticism and denial. So the idea that he's dialed back the rhetoric, won't engage in military action, it's not a guarantee. As I say, once he's landed back in America, we could see a reversal of this. Danish Prime Minister rules out negotiations on Greenland's sovereignty as part of Trump's deal. So it's not as clear cut as we think. But Farage has weighed in, the human thumb. The human thumb has waded into the Greenland conversation a little bit late, actually, because I think he said this just as Trump was saying, okay, we need Iceland. We don't need Iceland, Greenland, Canada. It's all the fucking same thing. Farage says, world would be a better place if US took over Greenland, says Nigel Farage. There he is. The human thumb speaketh. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? I'm just going to go back to breaking news. The reason I keep going back here, if you're listening or watching, look, the Board of Peace ceremony is bringing some good news. Apparently, Gaza's Rafah crossing will reopen next week. This is a real step. Now, the problem with this, the Rafah crossing is the only one that was not controlled by Israel before the war. It's been closed since May 2024 when Israel took control. Last October, Israel said it would stay closed until further notice to put pressure on Hamas. Now, bear with me on this. What's going to be telegraphed as good news? I mean, everyone just now talks about the Rafah crossing like if it's open, it's a great thing. Let me clarify what's potentially about to happen through the Rafah crossing. The mass displacement of those Palestinians who don't want to be digitally counted and held in digitally controlled so-called communities. So do not greet the Rafah crossing being opened with anything other than somehow, some way, this will work for the most sinister war criminal of them all. And I say he's more sinister than Putin, Benjamin Netanyahu. He is a deeply unpleasant, evil, Machiavellian monster who, if he says the Rafah crossing can open, it will be for a flow of traffic going in only one direction. There are attempts to give Palestinians the choice of being digitally profiled and then processed and then held in contained and controlled secure communities. And those who don't will be expelled and exported. And because the Egyptian regime is so fucking spineless too, possibly into some kind of hinterland through the Rafah crossing. So let's not get all excited because the Board of Peace, consisting of billionaires, corrupt billionaires, looking to chop up and share out the Gaza Strip, regardless of the fact that they will be, whatever their, Blair's penthouse, Musk's penthouse, Netanyahu's promenade, Trump's high rise, they will be. And if anyone uses any of these places for a holiday, they will be haunted by the ghosts of those who've been completely genocided. Now, on that, I just want to share with you. I just want to share with you this clip. It's from a brilliant stand-up comedian called. He's just so funny. Hang on, let me just get his. His name is Judah. I think it's Judah Friedlander. That's right, Judah Friedlander. I just want to share this with you. It's very witty. It's very short, but he's an incredibly on the money stand-up comedian in New York.
I can't believe the country founded on genocide and built by slavery is slipping into fascism. Who could have thought that would happen?
So simple. This is not new behavior for America. This is not new behavior for America. It's baked into the psyche. the control, the elimination, the genocide. I mean, we all like to pussyfoot around it. If Israeli Zionists, if Zionists want to keep pounding the block with 3,000 years this and 3,000 years that, well, we don't have to go that far back to identify an enormous genocide, a shocker of a genocide in America. So it is no surprise. Now, the part of all of this that's really unedifying, both with Greenland and with the Board of Peace, is, as I say, the exceptionalism, the absolute kind of hypocrisy, the inconsistency of the application of outrage and horror to war criminals. This one's better than that one. This one's not such a wanted war criminal as that one. And the distinction and the contrast read the world's response and Western leaders' response to Greenland, the annexation of Greenland, versus what we've seen happen. You know, the whole Greenland thing is speculative and potential. It hasn't happened. And listen to the way in which Western leaders have leapt up, and Starmer's found his voice and he's standing in there. I'm saying this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. But absolutely nothing, no equivalence, no strength behind the outrage that was Gaza. I just want to play you Alana Hadid, Lanzi Bear she is on Instagram. She sums it up beautifully. Look at this.
Having like a freak fest over Mark Carney's speech at Davos. And listen, while I completely agree that he said the quiet part out loud, he acknowledged the end of a rules-based order. But what's sad to me in it is that in saying the quiet part out loud in response to Greenland, which is kind of what he highlighted as the, fall from grace, he acknowledged something else. When a genocide, actually multiple genocides are happening, but when a genocide is happening in Gaza that has been fueled and funded by Western hegemony, and no one has made this speech yet, that's the problem.
Perfect. Perfectly. What part of that can Yvette Cooper not understand? What part of that can our government not understand? The absolute hypocrisy, the fact that Western leaders have found their voices and, in the spirit of gender equality, found their bollocks and their ovaries and said and called out the outrage of what Trump has suggested he might do, what has happened and been done receives nothing whatsoever from our leaders, just concern. Oh, we are deeply concerned. He's forever deeply concerned, and he's crystal clear. Let me be crystal clear. We are deeply concerned about the situation in Gaza. Bring back the hostages. Oh, all the hostages are back. Sorry. And so for those of you abroad who don't know who Yvette Cooper is, this is Yvette Cooper. This is our Foreign Secretary. UK not ready to sign up to Donald Trump's Board of Peace, says Yvette Cooper, regardless of whether she's kind of using this as an excuse to just not tolerate this Board of Peace is another matter completely. But the fact that she cites President Putin as the reason to not join and doesn't expect anyone to go, hang on a minute, but Netanyahu's okay. Netanyahu's all right, is he? What's the difference? They're both wanted war criminals. What's the fucking difference? There isn't one. There isn't one. Oh, it's infuriating. Should we just go for, let me give you the latest news from, this is the Guardian's live feed of what's going on. 1 minute ago, Donald Trump has just returned to the lectern for some concluding remarks. So they could all be there for about another 10 days as he riffs about, he's currently riffing about Gaza's real estate possibilities. This is so much worse than the masked elite in Squid Games. I can't believe it. He's riffing. Look at this location by the sea, he says. Look at this beautiful piece of property, Trump says, suggesting that people who are living so poorly today will be living so well. I don't feel the Gaza Riviera is going to be there for the Palestinians. Finally, he promises that the board of peace will be important and not a waste of time. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was on stage outlining his plan for redevelopment of Gaza. He's going to push on with workforce housing, where he suggests could also be a lot of industry, 100% employment, an opportunity for everyone. So are they going to actually offer Palestinians a slave tradery return? Like, you work for us, building on the bones of your relatives, your people, and you can earn a crust. It's so sick that if you're not outraged by it, you too are sick. Nadine Casson, it's like the Twilight Zone. You're absolutely right. It's like the Twilight. Oh, sorry, I was trying to put it on screen. We put a single toe out of line and into the realms of illegal and we're arrested. But the monsters out there killing thousands of people are waltzing about. Perfectly put, Nadine Casson. It's so fucking grisly, guys. Obviously, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to have to do something else on the border peace. I'm going to have to go through his clips. I just can't. It's so unedifying. Meanwhile, our fucking foreign secretary is an absolute fucking stooge. Shameful, shambolic, get rid. And regardless of whether you can get on board with everything that the Green Party is about, support the Green Party. We need someone to shake the system up. I saw a comment, I think, from King Bridget saying, I wish we had someone who felt like they could vaguely give us something different. I mean, I voiced to Zach Polanski in the podcast, I have a worry that this system that we're in disallows change. And I actually urged him and suggested he has to go for the win, or certainly the largest party in any potential coalition. Because whoever gets in next, if Reform and the Conservatives get in next, and they in any way replicate what's going on in America, you can rest assured we can watch the edges of our own so-called democracy get ruined, the redrawing of boundaries. They'll do whatever they can to marginalize once again the Green Party, or any party that has an opinion that isn't the mainstream. This is deeply troubling. The biggest threat to peace right now is Donald Trump's board of peace. Because all it is just pieces. It's board of pieces, shuffling pieces around. What piece do you want? What piece do you want? Oh, I'll have that piece. I'll have that piece, this piece, that piece. Netanyahu, what piece would you like? Oh, peace. Oh, right, peace. Yeah, like pieces of fucking Lego. Then me too, we may as well all give up and go home. The whole system's fucked. This is only getting worse. Democracy as we understand it is not going to exist with the powers that are coming in. Reform and Conservatives, I promise you, there's a vested interest from the right in this spurious myth of democracy fading away. I just want to share this just quickly, because just ICE is something we forever and a day want to talk about, because if you can see it in America, you will see it here. I just want to share this. This is the clip or a photograph of a 4-year-old who's being taken in by ICE and a commentator, influencer talking over the top of it.
ICE detained today. A real hardened criminal, hasn't even made it out of elementary school. He's a baby with a little Spider-Man backpack and his little blue cute hat. And seeing this fucking hand on his backpack gives me a rage that I cannot put into words. Yes, I wouldn't expect anything less from an enforcement agency led by a puppy killer. We've been hearing about the essay that's been going on by these agents. And to think that a child this small can be there, I am out of my mind as it is. And then seeing this baby there, his face, like seeing him so scared. He's with people he doesn't know, with men that all of us adults know are dangerous. You don't think this poor baby knows that? These kids are even more intuitive than we could ever dream to be at this age. I will not support any single candidate, any single person that thinks that this shit can be reformed, continue to be funded. I refuse. I fucking refuse.
And I just want to show you Border Patrol Tsar. Is it Greg Bavino? Check this out. This is the guy who's Trump's Border Patrol leader.
I'm in the gas. Get back. Gas is coming. Gas is coming. Second warning. We're filling you gas on Bill, Bavino. Third warning. Gas on Bill. All right. Gas. You just get back. Get back. Sam, I have it. Sam, back up. The green stuff.
Wow. Haven't the billionaires done a great job of weaponizing migrants and difference and race? Wow. Let's go after the migrants. Fucking hell. It is Squid Games, guy. Go and watch it. You know, the faceless masked fuckers who actually are the worst actors in the series, sat above watching everything, eating their lunch. That is what is literally happening. It is literally happening. Marina Driscoll, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had done their jobs properly, there would have been no need for ICE today. The whole American political system is responsible for this. The Democrats are corrupt. The Democrats were spineless. The Democrats were too fucking overzealous going for Trump, which is what gave him his popularity. Okay, let's move on. Finally, this is I haven't got the headline here. Just bear with me one sec. This is the story regarding children and, well, yeah, I can tell you it. I don't need to show you it. The social media ban, Under-16s, the House of Lords, which is our second undemocratic, unelected chamber of our government. Tells you everything you need to know. Democracy? What? We still have a House of fucking Lords. I mean, fuck's sake. Anyway, so the House of Lords have backed an Under-16s social media ban. It looks like this is more than likely to come in. It's passed in Australia. And before we all get, no disrespect to Australians in the room, Christopher, before we all get all really excited about, oh, wow, that's really sensible what Australia are doing. It's all really good. Okay, bear in mind, Australia is also considering passing a law where it is illegal to accuse Israel and the Israeli government of having committed a genocide. That's something they're toying with. So just because it comes from Australia doesn't mean it's forward thinking and the next great thing. There is an issue with right-wingness in Australia as there is in everywhere else in the world. Now, let me just share my thoughts on this. And I really want you all to give me your thoughts on this. Social media has deeply disturbing content on it. It has stuff that plays with kids' minds, kids' brains. It's addictive, it's compulsive, it's all the things that I remember when I was a child, people saying television was too. And I just want to draw this parallel. If back then, and there were attempts back then, like from Mary Whitehouse and the powers that be, that controlling television, controlling the kind of output that went out, and it should be this sort of output, always using the argument that we need to protect our children. Now, children need to be protected. The responsibilities of protection aren't just the state's, they are parental. And I would say also principally school. And what I mean by school is I would get behind first a total ban on all mobile phones held in school hours in school. Why don't they go for that first? I would also go for, as there have been recent cases of laboring, I mean, I know it's been relatively successful, unsuccessful with Twitter X about the AI created images of people in undress. But why not go after the social media platforms and push them to enact stronger guardrails for younger viewers? And I'll tell you why I have huge cause for concern about the social media ban for Under-16s and why people like Kemi Badenoch and the right will be running at this. Most opposition to right-wing political ideology comes from younger adults. Not all, as again, Zach Polanski was saying yesterday, he said, you know, they are skewing older too. But a lot of support for more progressive policies, politics, and understanding of global politics comes from the younger demographic. And I have a real worry that under the guise of looking after the mental health of our children, which is really important, don't get me wrong, and the welfare of our children, which may well be the impetus behind many of those behind this social media ban, that what will be following in behind it is also an ability to remove any political influence or not even influence, but any political awareness that any youngster could find or could have under 16. And I remember feeling very political under 16 and at 16. So I have a real concern that whilst the intent behind this is well-meaning, there are many other ways to try and deal with this first, rather than creating a social media ban. Then there's the other detail that just because you enact a social media ban doesn't mean youngsters aren't savvy enough to be able to access the material anyway. Musical chimp. Would Greta Thunberg be the woman she is today without seeing what she did on social media? And I genuinely think there is a fear that this will be used as another kind of sort of layer of trying to manufacture consent from younger adults, so that when they hit that sort of prime of 17, 18, 19 political awareness or global awareness, and not all youngsters are, so I'm just going to give a fuck about any of it, that they won't be as well informed, or they won't, because not, contrary to what people would have you think, there's lots of dubious content, of course there is, but there's also lots of incredibly well-researched, independently sourced journalism, footage, opinions, theories that themselves would never see the light of day in the state-owned, state-manufactured content that we see on television. So I don't 100% line up behind this. I see in this, baked into this, the hands of the system seeking to manufacture consent from younger adults. Do you agree? Miss Babylove, none of the kids at Rains Park High School are allowed phones during the day, or they get taken away and given back at the end of the day. I'm sure there are some schools, but I think it needs to be made legal. It needs to be made mandatory that in every school, phones are not allowed. And I think at least you remove it, you're removing screen time from throughout the day. I'm skeptical, says Nice Things, with this decision, as this government don't care about the welfare of our children. It's a move towards more control. That's my feeling. And I think, unfortunately, some of the advocates for this, those who are outspoken, are campaigning for it, that's not to say that their intentions aren't wholesome or right or genuinely putting kids first. But I think they get used. I think well-meaning people's desire to look after kids in this topic are getting hijacked. I have this theory that if you see the likes of Kemi Badenoch, Farage, Trump, et al., all of that lot behind an idea, I'm sorry, I just automatically go, the idea's got to be wrong, because I know I disagree fundamentally on every one of their values. So if they're behind it, I start to interrogate it and go, oh, what's wrong here? My kids are in their 30s, says Janina M, and their wider social groups seem to be all left-leaning politically. And isn't it interesting that the system, the governments, the mainstream will have you think that they're only left-leaning because they've been groomed by social media. The reason the system doesn't like social media is because it means that the system can't keep grooming the population with mainstream television and mainstream news. Losing control of news flow is one of the major issues for most governments in the West, because more and more people have smelt a rat and they're seeing it for what it is. And when presented with the evidence, they go, fuck this bullshit. So you might have a bunch of men in ties standing up at the Board of Peace, but most young people in the world see through it. And that's a problem. That's why, Netanyahu has encouraged the biggest supporter of Israel to buy TikTok. I think more and more schools will do it anyway, as there's too many distractions related to phones and less interaction between kids, Miss Babylove. Even if more social media apps pop up, they'd all be subject to the same laws and penalties, says MeToo. Passive aggressive. It's funny that as soon as 16-year-olds can vote, their social media is taken away. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Russ Ouch, I want to protect my daughter from the internet as much as possible. She's only 6. I think there's a strong argument for, say, under 12. You know, I think there could be a much stronger argument for under 12 because, you know, you're very young, and you know, so I mean, there is that thought there. Maybe 16 is the wrong age. If you can vote at 16, you can't say to people they can be politically aware enough to vote at 16 and potentially have a restriction on the information they receive on the main, on possibly the most on the most popular form of communication between youngsters, which is social media. There is a connection. So what, you suddenly hit 16, you can suddenly have access to social media, but you can also vote, says the Labour Party. That does feel suspicious. It does feel manipulative. It does feel like they're trying to starve the oxygen of political thought from all these 16-year-olds that could suddenly say, oh, well, I can vote. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird that you can have the Labour Party, Labour government wants 16-year-olds to vote, but they're also about to put in a ban that prevents 16-year-olds from having social media. Curious. So what you're saying is that 16-year-olds can only vote based upon what they see and receive and understand from the mainstream legacy media. That's what I think is key in this legislation. That's what I think they're trying to do. It's trying to massage the political opinions of under 16-year-olds. It's heinous. And it's coming in under the spurious kind of argument of we've got to look after our kids, which how many of us would disagree? It's like the teeny tiny Tommy protesters outside asylum hotels. We protect our kids. What, only from migrants? What about protect our kids in general from horrible white men? Selective. It's all selective fucking rage. It's all hypocrite. Everything today we've talked about. There's exceptionalism and hypocrisy in all of it. But anyway, thanks for all your comments, guys. Thanks for being part of this. I'm going to dig into the Board of Peace. Wish me luck. And I will probably bring you something later about that. There's going to be another vlog landing later. And if, like I say, if you fancy heading off into deep outer space, go and check out the live chat I did with the Harvard professor on interstellar object 3I Atlas. Sending you love, Ross. Sending everyone love. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks as ever. And we will see you anon.